So BBQ starting on the blue side. Gonna go ahead and ban that Sejuani to start us off.
See what the priority is here for both teams. ROX running over top lane worked well, so they could potentially leave Linderong's top laner till much later. Rise banned out, and I saw a little bit of happiness there from you.
Yeah.
You want to see some interactive escapes rather than the alt zonias from the stopwatch that's been kind of ruining the LCK recently.
Yeah, happy to see him banned away. I think it's a good idea too, just because of what we've been talking about in some of the other ban and pick, where it's such a good first pick or early pick just to go against anything in the mid lane. The problem with this now with the Azir ban is that not a lot of AD carries are being banned away here, so they're leaving options available for one of their carries in Sangyu.
For Ghost, though, they will have first pick. Ghost, his priority is a bit different. I feel like Kog'Maw first pick is quite possible with Ghost. Build up the Ghost was kind of the BBQ strategy towards the end of summer season, where nothing was working except for the hyper carry strategies, a bit like Kongdu Monster is known to do. A Gangplank blue side ban, it feels like this is becoming more and more common, although it was Kingzone banning the Gangplank on blue and red side. And like you say, a lot is left open. Not just a little bit, a lot is left open. Ezreal, for example, Kog'Maw is left open. The Sejuani is banned. There's a lot of priority available. Even mid lane priority with Azir Rise banned away. Such staples of the meta. Could see new stuff coming up, which would be exciting, or we might just see more Malzahar shenanigans.
Even the Zoe being taken away from Tempt, they acknowledge his carry potential on a pick like Zoe in the mid lane that in the first series and in a lot of series at LCK we don't see picked or banned. So really targeting out Tempt here with the banning on the side of ROX.
I feel like if you don't take Malzahar, Tempt might just default to it, given that he's 2-0. Was blind picking it in the series against Kongdu Monster. On the red side, the Kazakhs finally came a treat from Kuz in the last game that we cast, Valdez. So going to be preferred here. That was how they ran over the GP. It was, I believe, Gnar and the Kazakhs in the top side to run over Untara's Gangplank. Gangplank banned out, but still, the story worked there for Songwan on that particular pick.
We're talking about that Braum power nowadays, one of the best supports, if not the best, as we've been seeing from some of the best teams here in LCK. It gets picked pretty early on here in the draft.
Now, Trick's playing with our hearts a little bit. I mentioned the Ivern already. The Eve is the only jungler in Korea that's actually been experimenting with this. Locking in it this early would be a surprise, but the mind games have started from Trick on the blue side, and I mentioned the Malzahar. The Malzahar very, very likely. This Ultra Comfort for Tempt. Happy to blind pick and then leave Trick maybe a second round jungler to start really playing with fire. This is the sort of thing where if they don't pick jungle here and then they see an Eve ban or an Ivern ban, Trick will feel like his job has been done. And this is the pick that Ignar is known for, and also what he's been spamming in solo queue. So the mind games have started for maybe future games. It's going to be a Tahm Kench. The support pick here for BBQ.
Very solid first three picks for BBQ, but you have to think that ROX knew that the Malzahar was coming, so let's see if they have anything prepared against this Malzahar pick. They saw he was really good on it in his games earlier, and they banned out two of the other really big meta mid laners. So they're like, okay, he's almost definitely going to pick it. Let's see what they do. They're going to go ahead and pick Varus first before the second banning phase.
If you're looking at Lava's solo queue, the most interesting pick was the Galio, was actually one he was considering. Malzahar was, when we first saw him last year, actually seen really only as a counter to Galio before the Malzahar rework and the Malzahar meta kind of was upon us. So I don't know if we'll see the Galio here, but because we've seen the Kazakhs, it really is a possibility. They kind of just pick for team comp and go for a Galio that Lava's been practicing on the red side. Speaking of red side, the Ivern that we mentioned already is banned away. You look at BBQ and say, well, it's probably going to be two more frontliners for Ghost to do the heavy carrying, given the Kog'Maw's already been locked in. The Ivern would be that second support, so probably a smart ban there.
Yep, gonna go ahead and take away the Cassiopeia. Already so many targeted mid lane bans, trying to add insult to the injury that ROX have maybe done to themselves by banning out so many of those other picks and not picking it before the second ban phase. Jarvan gets taken away as another potential jungle pick there for Trick.
It's a proactive lane presence jungler that works well with a Kog'Maw late game, because locking in the enemy AD carry and creating space for your Kog'Maw to do damage is one of the trademarks of a Kog'Maw draft. So BBQ looking for frontliners. ROX Tigers, will it be the Galio that I'm alluding to? Might even be a last pick for the mid lane, or will we see something else with some of the more meta mid laners considered already? Looking for top lane and mid lane. Bit of a flex pick here from the side of ROX. It could be a mid lane Vladimir. It's been a counter pick to Malzahar in previous metas, especially if you want to opt into an earlier Spectre's Cowl. You can kind of do whatever you want after that and be fine.
Well, I haven't been enjoying too many of these Nidalee games. Hasn't shown too much power or potential, and it gets hovered there for a bit, but they are going to switch to the Gnar here.
I feel like everyone is playing with the expectations when it comes to Trick's jungle pick. They will last pick jungle. Very rare thing to do on the blue side. Wait and see what he decides. Nidalee's a possibility just to be a true support.
It's Teemo.
This is the EULCS learnings we got from Ignar and Trick. The troll hovers. What's it going to be from the jungle? This was banned away in game 1 of the day. The Zac makes sense in this comp. So some proactive lanes and 2 very strong frontliners, Gnar as well, for the Kog'Maw. So prototypical Kog'Maw draft, but it's going to be not so much lane presence from the jungle, at least in the early game. And all right, the flex pick has been enacted. Probably going to be the Galio mid lane, because that's what Lava's been practicing, and also it works so well with the Kha'Zix, because Kha'Zix and Galio is how KT picked up most of their victories, how BDD and Cuz picked up most of their victories in their no-death games was on this duo, as we're shamelessly mugging for the camera. Your best 2018, it's BBQ.
What was the slogan you saw on the chicken earlier? The best quality is the best.
So
or
BBQ
something?
stands for best of the best quality. That's literally what their name means.
All right.
Not barbecue,
So
like you might imagine.
I thought it was barbecue.
Why would
Both fan groups coming out with a lot of support for these 2 teams. And let's get into game number 1. You guys can see that best of the best quality over there.
We're really laying it on thick here with the advertising.
Just like their garlic olive oil glaze on the chicken we ate earlier.
Shut up, Valdez. We don't have a personal sponsorship, so don't do that. You can be bought, but for the right price.
All right, all right.
0 is not the right price.
I'll hold myself to a higher standard from here on out. Won't shamelessly sell myself out to the crispiness of their...
This is what you want to get yourself known for, being a BBQ shill. Well, again, it could make you money. But now, at least, we're going to focus on the game. Stopwatch numbers, they're rising, but it's only 50% in this game.
Yeah, 5 out of 10, not bad. Only 1 minion dematerializer. We saw 4 in the first game of Kingzone versus that other team that we just watched.
Yes. You could have just
the Afrika Freaks
said Kingzone slow. I said their full name as you looked over your papers.
Kingzone Dragon X, yeah. But
and let's look at the history, and well, that's some very one-sided reading. Remember, ROX Tigers were up and down, but mostly down in 2017. So for them to hold such a large amount of a lead over the side of BBQ should be concerning. ROX Tigers won all of them, but I would say BBQ comes in pretty heavy favorites for this game 1.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, especially after their first performance and showing what they can do with their 2 imports of Trick and Ignar. We'll see how it does go down in this game. Someone coming over here stealing the Scuttled Crab. Trick not really nearby. Hasn't taken his blue yet, even though he's level 3.
Guys are wondering what the other options are. Oh, he was trying to take both camps. That's how you power farm as the Zac. Continuing with it, just going to reset the Gromp. I feel like the positioning is not ideal from Trick. Does delay his clear a little bit. Just to answer the question of what your options are with the Minion Dematerializer, it's either the Magical Footwork or the Futures Marker as the other 2 options. So Futures Marker, for some reason, been heavily deprioritized in Korea. Seemed like a very popular choice at All-Star, but people just don't like the penalty of having to pay that extra gold. Whereas Magical Footwear is not being picked up here because you just want your boots earlier than the 10 minutes they often come.
Yeah. Also helps out in the lane if you're getting pushed in a lot. You know, the Galio can clear your little minions as Malzahar so easily to the point where you are going to be pushed in a bunch of times. Galio has his own nice wave clear, so helps when you're under turret just to make sure you get everything. Also to push back against that Galio, who, by the way, has taken Unsealed Spellbook. We don't see Galio all too often, so I think it's a good idea to point that out.
Extra flashes, going to be happy times. Also the teleport for a counter gank. Feels like a true global between that and the hero's entrance. So good of you to point out. Lots of spell books that have been open today. 3 in this game, but no supports to teleport in apart from the Abyssal Voyage. Bot side, we saw pretty heavy invade, means that Brahms caught up and all alone here, Key.
He's going for that plant. Can he make it? A couple more damage would do it. He puts up a shield, and here comes Trick. The easiest gank for a Zac at that point. Picks up the first blood, and a big mistake from Key means that they will get a small lead here.
Unfortunately, Key does have these really weird laning choices. For example, he's been caught trying to freeze the wave bot lane 3 or 4 times last year, many more times than the average support. It's kind of one and done on that one. In this case, watch the replay. Going for deep vision to help out the Kha'Zix is very smart, but doing it without your AD carry backing you up. You need your laner also at least threatening the tri-brush, not in the lane. Yeah. It was just too easy from the side of ROX Tigers, for the side of BBQ, and also they didn't have vision on the enemy jungler, so he thought, okay, I've got my W, I've got flash, I'll be fine, but the jungler was an extra variable not respected by the side of ROX Tigers. Free kill over to BBQ.
Yeah, he was also seen the entire time as there was a ward in the tri-brush by the bottom lane duo of BBQ. And so it was just the easiest pickup for them.
So you're saying he hasn't covered himself in glory?
No, he actually did the exact opposite. Everything went wrong for him. Definitely an unfortunate mistake for Key.
So yeah, more competitive Vladimir top lane matchup than we've been used to. Black Cleaver on the Gnar. In mini Gnar form, you can actually just run over Vladimir, especially if you get a Hex Drinker. I love this confirmed first blood icon we have on there.
By the way, guys, he has 100% of the kill contribution after picking up first blood with only 1 kill on the map.
Hey, it's a number that makes him look good. We're trying to build stars here, Valdez.
What a beast. Trick.
Never a good sign when your Kha'Zix is being invaded by a Zac.
He has the early Balmy Cinder, which will definitely help out.
I mean, he has a big item lead, right? It's 900 gold worth of effective stats over just the Tracker's Knife.
Taking a look here, Gathering Storm.
Yeah.
People are beginning to get it. They've been listening to your casting, Papa.
I mean, it's really good if the game goes 40 minutes, and it's decent if the game goes 30.
Also, the other one, I think that's the one where you do more damage when you're above 70% health.
Might just be for wave clear. I'm not actually 100% sure if it's just to champions. Those sort of runes, especially the ones where you do more damage when you're low or high health, are so rarely taken. The do more damage when you're low health one is purely a Tryndamere and Karthus one to use the passive and ultimate respectively. Interesting. Sort of thing where I'd love to just chat to them about why that rune, you know, just when there's other options that are so much more mainstream.
Late game when you're not really taking damage and when you first engage, right, you have a big burst of damage with the Gathering Storm, which after 30 minutes is going to be a significant amount of extra AP, as well as the extra damage you get from being above 70% health.
We should pay a bit of lip service if you haven't been following the balance changes since last year. Galio's back, but different. Big change with Galio, is crazy, just kind of ults minions, is that his W now does damage. So his AoE taunt now does damage, has decent base, but has AP scaling as well. And I believe the big intent is to force him to go tanky AP rather than just pure tank, which was the old build. Now, no guarantee we'll see Rod of Ages, might just be the Abyssal Mask and could just have the lower damage output than you would expect in competitive play. But that was the intent from Riot, was to force there to be a bit more ability power rather than just pure tank on the Galio.
Look at this, there's no warding at all. Easiest flash get for them. They're gonna bop 2 heads together. Do they have something extra? They eat up Key. Keep in mind, he does not have his flash from that earlier kill, and he goes down again. This time they give the kill to Ghost, and things are going so well for BBQ so
great
far.
Synergy also between those imports, Valdez. So smart for them to focus onto Key. No ability for him to go. Actually delayed the second part of the Q in order to try to interrupt the stand beside me W. So that was really smartly done. That's the second time we've seen an aggressive use of the Devour, but no need to gobble up the Kog'Maw when you can just use it to get a kill. Watch here, Key really wanted a way to taxi onto Sungyun, but by the time he used it, he was in melee range of the Varus. They take him down. Great stuff from the European imports on BBQ.
They go right before his flash is available, and keep in mind that they could go again because the flash is down now on Sungyun. Another very vulnerable member. You can see that Sungwon was thinking about a gank up on the top side, but Crazy has enough to wave clear himself out and be just fine. 2 control wards up in that top side river for ROX Tigers. They haven't really been able to make anything happen with that extra vision they have.
And now the pressure's on them because it's an outscale draft from BBQ. Every Kog'Maw draft kind of feels like that, but in the late game, BBQ are going to be very, very powerful in the 5v5, very long-range engage from Trick as well. And now ROX, who picked the proactive duo. Kha'Zix and Galio was the cornerstone of so many successful games from our best teams, KT and Longzhu. Both were playing this extensively last year. Now it's kind of pressure on because if you're ROX Tigers, you're feeling if our first Heroes entrance doesn't work, we might be so far behind against a Fed Zac of all people that it might not work at any point in the game. So ROX Tigers will feel like they need to be proactive, but now the pressure's truly on.
We'll see what they decide to go for. As of right now, everybody on the side of BBQ has their flash, so even if he wins for a big play, it's going to be hard to pull off. Trick was thinking about a bungee jump into the mid lane, but it is a Galio for you guys who have been watching League of Legends for a while.
Yeah,
it's very hard to kill.
A lot of magic resist already, so that's worth noting. As Key's flash is back up.
Yeah, he does have his flash, but Sungyun only has his stopwatch, which gets him out of the kidnap here. Key able to get back. Here comes Galio with the heroic entrance. But by that time, everybody had disengaged. Meanwhile, Sungwon, he never went in. He was just watching.
Yeah, really nice disengage there with the hero's entrance, like you say, from the side of BBQ, respecting that ultimate. It's Tempt. Oh, he loses vision.
Lost vision, now it's 2v4. In comes TK from behind with Ghost alongside him, but this kind of looks like a broken up fight. Gets the ultimate down at least, and they pop the passive there onto Zac, but they want a little bit more. They want to get Ghost, but there's the stopwatch. Lava pretty low, as well as Tempt, but look at how much damage. He has his own stopwatch. And now the Kog'Maw passive, trying to do that extra bit, and the double kill. Going to the bottom lane of BBQ is going to end that very messy fight.
Yeah, BBQ trading up even after they lost out on the first burst when they lost vision from Tempt as he flashed over. It looked like it was going to be easy mop up from the side of ROX, but no teleports from the top laners. And let's finally see the replay. You see what Tempt wants to do here. Flash ult, but he tries to use E and R because remember, the Malefic Vision's duration increases after you use ultimate, so you get more damage out if you can use E first. But that greed means that he doesn't get the full channel. They're still fighting on the null zone for a while. When we see Sungwon and also Lava come over the wall, you think, okay, they're done. But just like the stopwatch was used earlier by Sungyun, it's still up here. Sungyun's doing no damage, out of auto attack range, even though he has 575 range. Wow. So it's kind of the walk of shame back to lane for the Varus, who just really couldn't do anything and didn't have flash up to really respond.
Ignar, the big MVP for the end of that fight, he blocked the charge from Galio after his stopwatch so that he couldn't get away from Kog'Maw's passive, and then he got that last lick for the extra kill towards the end. So Ignar showing up big on one of the best support picks that we have nowadays. That's Tom Kench.
And look at that, 100%, baby.
Ooh, okay.
With a lot of 100%ers here, a lot of honor rollers on the side of BBQ. Don't know if their parents have bumper stickers, but at least for the early game here, they'd be happy to use them. I mentioned before that Narido's very happy, and that's why you can see compared to the GP lane, which is often 20 CS down on Vlad, he's up in CS.
Okay, they're trying to make a play on the Tom Kench. Not usually what you want to do. Look at how much damage Key has already taken. In comes Trick. Misses that ability, though, and Key will get away.
It's going to lead to a disengage. The moment the Zac started channeling, I think everyone on the side of ROX had the thought to back away, and no hero's entrance for the Galio to change things up.
Crazy thinking about going in. Eats a bit of damage as his Mega Gnar form does pop, but decides against it. Pretty even lane up in topside. You can see that Crazy has a bit of an advantage there at 15 CS ahead.
Yeah, Black Cleaver and Spectre's Cowl is the gold standard for this lane. By then you also have 5 points in your W and can just chase down and Vladimir almost never has resist, just gets the free health from his passive. So that's the point where things are golden for the side of Crazy. But for now, look, he's pushing up. He's got a turret HP lead by doing those couple of auto attacks. So things very happy for the side of BBQ after the counter pick from Linderung.
You'll note that Crazy did go for Resolve secondary, so he has some extra defensive stats to make sure that he does not take too much harassment damage from Linderung in the lane.
Yeah, might have been conditioning, might have just been the magic resist, the mirror shell, I think it's named. You get 6 MR and only 5 armor, so you feel pretty good about picking up the MR, but conditioning just has so many scaling options that if you're confident enough, you can definitely get the eventual payoff. And a lot of the tree, honestly, a lot of the runes is about 10 minutes plus, getting a lot of extra value or picking for purely laning phase.
Yeah, also the second wind, which you see taken almost all the time, just really helps when you're going against a harass-heavy lane.
I couldn't imagine going Resolve second and not taking second wind.
Yeah.
If you're going for primary, there's maybe some other options, but for secondary, the resists and then the healing is so powerful.
Really helps him out. Maybe we'll get a look at that a little bit later, but as for now, we will not. But I think we figured it out, Papa. Trick coming in here, getting some more vision down.
He's pretty monstrous already. He's going for a snowball Warmox, and then he won't be doing any dying.
I mean, he's already not dying, although he did die once. But after that, once he gets his Warmox.
He hasn't died since he last died.
No team really looking at that Cloud Drake. Just letting it be, not interrupting its slumber at all.
At the end of the day, Zach pushing up vision, warding camps, getting eyes on the Kazakhs, and Tempt keeping the mid lane Galio counter was important, as we see a lot of people mid.
Yeah, you see he gets taunted out of the ult, but when you're going 1v4, does it really matter? That little bit of extra time to lock him down means that he will, in fact, die.
And they'll probably lose the turret here.
4 members in the mid lane and no one to defend.
Really nice rotation coming through. Ghost and Ignar showing great communication once again. Playing through this bot lane has led to so many advantages for BBQ so far in this game, and that's going to be a pretty core strategy for them as defending Ghost in summer, even with different personnel. It was one of the winning strategies they had from BBQ. Tempt opened up, even though he was pretty sure he was going to get interrupted in the mid lane, and I think Lava was too late on the flash, not respecting the fact that if Q hits, as you say, the heads are knocked, he's going to get killed anyway. Getting the mid lane turret, forcing Galio to be accountable means no longer is he going to be in range to a side lane hero's entrance without first pushing up in vision. It's a pretty big cost there. Almost never see Galio give up his turret first, and bonus objectives are plenty for BBQ.
Look at the heat map for Trick. He's been all around that bottom side, inside Sungwon's jungle, but also in the lane. So showing a lot of pressure down there towards the bottom side of the map.
It was pretty mirrored by the side of ROX, but Sungwon was always second, and that's really can't happen when you're playing the Kazakhs. Might be the first good news story of the game, as ROX is onto the Rift Herald, and it's going to take a while for the members of BBQ to react, although I believe the Ghosts there did spot them out.
Crosswing Claim does show it, but doesn't really matter, as they can't do much about it. There was a swapping of lanes going on, Ghost and Ignar going top, and Crazy going bot, and at the same time Trick was recalling, picking up that Warmogs, but was not available for the Rift Heralds.
It's the part of the lane where I'm most interested in Nara versus Vladimir, because the big first purchases are through. We do see the Black Cleaver completed, and if the lane is long enough, if turrets are down, my belief is that Nara can just chase down Vlad and kill him. As there's no real ability for Vlad to disengage once the damage starts, and Frozen Mallet will certainly confirm some of those chases.
Okay, so they're going for a 2-on-1 here. Crazy is going to hop away. Even the Ghosts can't keep him near enough by, because he hops and then he flashes, and it's not going to happen. So in the meanwhile, a push up in the top side as the bot lane of ROX is nowhere to be seen. But after that gank, they want to push the bot lane here. Does ROX.
Yeah, they'll invest the Rift Herald, but Kog'Maw up the top side got solo experience, not solo gold though, on the turret. So still good news stories for the side of BBQ. No big worries here. And to control the red side jungle, you know they've got the artillery, so once Malzahar shows up, you know that Zach can be soon to follow.
They decide against it, though, which is very interesting. They have control wards down. Perhaps the passive play out of Songyun and Key led them to believe they were seen. Either way, they decide not to get too aggressive and take the passive way out, just backing off. But as they did invade, they put down about 7 different wards. So they know everything that's going on in the red side jungle of ROX right now.
And that's definitely one of those scenarios where if it goes wrong, you can already hear your coach's words of, so you were diving in between the inner turret and the inhibitor turret at 18 minutes. That was a bad decision. So they just back away. Like you say, the vision is its own reward. Baron's not to spawn, so it's not, say, 23-minute red side vision, which is just higher priority. But they're going to be happy times here and raise some doubts for ROX when they're trying to defend the top lane. Ignar has no cares in the world.
Ignar, he's been so good on this Tom Kench pick. He really shows why it's a top-tier pick for the support role nowadays. It allows you to get really aggressive in this passive meta where you can roam from lane to lane, even going into mid to gank a Galio when I was saying earlier that you would never expect it. He's really been popping off on this pick. We'll see if he goes down here, though, as Trick is attempting to save his life. Linderong, a little bit separated, takes a bunch of damage, but he is Vlad trying to stay alive. He will stopwatch, but now it's 5 members, as even the TP coming in from Tempt to take out just Linderong.
And we missed at the start. Ignar sidestepped an ultimate as yet. Speaking of ultimates.
Oh, boy. Tried to go for the flash ult, but it seemed like there was not enough follow-up damage. So
Ignar sidestepped the Varus ultimate and the Braum Q, which honestly shouldn't have been shot at the same pixel, but they were from the 2 members of ROX Tigers, so both abilities were dodged. BBQ keeps pushing forward. Ignar, when he has the trust of his team, when his team wins early, his roaming is top tier, as we've already known. They're under a turret here, BBQ.
Yeah, Trick is just so tanky at this point, as is Ignar, that they allow both Tempt and Ghost to get in there and do a lot of poke damage while eating the turret damage themselves.
I mean, damage does not stick on a 20-minute Warmog Zac. He is incredibly tanky, happy to tank up the turret, disengage, clear a ward, and come back full health. Just Zac things from Trick. BBQ have really lived up to our billing. We said this is a team that's the favors. They've never actually beaten the ROX Tigers in a series, and it's only game 1, but the manner of the victory and the fact that they've made adaptations since the first time we saw them on the Rift, where they lost game 1, pretty one-sided to Kongdu Monster, and were very slow. Game 2 was the game where we said it took 16 minutes for them to claim a Baron after they started it. This is the sort of clean game where they've got initiation, they've got scaling, they won the early game with a scaling comp. Everything's gone right for BBQ.
Looking good for them so far, sitting at about 5,000 gold ahead. Let's take a look at this replay and just watch the happy feet from Ignar, dodging both the Q and the Varus ultimate to get away and set up the kill onto Linderong.
And you can see the problem there is the moment that happens, everyone's out of position. Linderong's getting ready for a flank, but of course, then everyone turns on him because no one's CC'd, no one has threat to respect. Tempt uses flash, doesn't get the kill on Kha'Zix. We've got another fight.
Yeah, we got a fight coming in. The TP from Crazy actually from behind, but this time the flank from Linderong is going to help out here. Tons of damage going down onto that very tanky Crazy on the Gnar. Even though he got a decent ultimate off, wasn't able to get too much help from his teammates as Ghost goes incredibly low.
Yeah, that dog pile worked excellently. That's the one you want with the Kha'Zix and the Galio. Like you say, Linderong was in the right position at the right time. Couldn't quite kill Ghost because of the flash and the Devour being available from Ignar, but they're going to get turret HP, they're going to get map control that they haven't had for 20 minutes. That's about as big a victory as you can really expect for ROX Tigers, given how the early game went, and Inferno's about to spawn in 5 seconds. No ability for Crazy to get there. He doesn't have teleport.
We'll have to take a look at the replay because I want to see how that fight started, right? They didn't just all group up in the river and accidentally bump heads, but someone had to have gotten caught. And, well, we are going to see this Inferno coming down here. It looks like ROX Tigers not even going to go for it at all.
Feels like a bit of a misread from ROX. What you'll see is you always look on the map and say, okay, where was the vision put down after this? You can see so many control wards around the blue buff when this starts. So Ghost walked up. This was off screen. We didn't see this. He was chunked out. He does not die here, but Linderong in wonderful position, didn't have to teleport, came in with Ignite and almost was able to burst down the enemy. So Ghost getting out here was a surprise. But Valdez, a small thing to mention, is there was a lot of control vision around BBQ, thinking about a Baron start. That was cleared. Red wards were put down that has since largely been cleared by BBQ. I know that gets confusing, but what I want to say is, with Infernal spawning in 5 seconds, why not use the free time to put vision around the Infernal? More likely to be the immediate battlefield than the Baron. They chose to put vision around the Baron and just gave up Infernal. You can't defend everything, but it felt like the realistic objective for the side of ROX Tigers was denying Infernal, not denying Baron.
Yeah, would have to agree. And just want to comment on Ghost positioning there. They didn't have any wards in there. There was a control ward nicely placed by ROX Tiger, so it was a bit unfortunate that he went to the left because it was nice kind of corralling by Key to push him up towards that red side jungle. If that didn't happen, the fight would not have gone so badly for BBQ. Well, here we go. We're going to have another engage, forcing the flash away from Sangyu. Very nice summoner to take away before any big fight.
And about the best economy of abilities, a, 9-second ability for a 3-minute ability is another aggressive teleport. Linderon swapped over to TP.
Okay, coming in from behind, but looks like so far a successful disengage. And now that will be a TP down on the side of ROX. They still have Galio with this TP available.
Galio and Malzahar both with teleport. For now, Tempt is going to push up the side waves. See where the vision is. Much better defensive vision for ROX around Baron. That is the next primary objective in the game. You can get into kill range onto a Galio, but it's difficult to do, and certainly not through double magic resist items with no Void Staff. Probably never going to be solo kills from Tempt after the damage nerfs to Malzahar, so I take that back. No killing, but certainly with no Void Staff. Not even a tickling for the Galio.
You can take a small look at the damage so far. Ghost has had his run of the Rift for most of the time, except that last fight. And of course, Crazy doing a lot of harass damage overall to that Linderong's Vlad in the top lane.
Yeah, Linderong remembering now that actually Vlad into Noah is not great.
Oh, Sungwon almost gets caught by that leap. Doesn't leap himself. Very calmly, he kind of just struts away.
You can use autos onto wards to proc the CC there. That's what they used, but couldn't interrupt the jump. If they could interrupt the jump with that, would have been massive for the side of BBQ. But we take a deep breath. We look once again at the map. BBQ's play around Baron was the biggest criticism you can level at them again after the Kongdu series, so we'll see if they can adjust and get better on that side. 4 control wards, generally in the area of Baron, but need that offensive vision trip to start to clear them out.
And I wonder who it is that didn't place the control ward. Maybe Tempt at this point, because inventory is full. You'll notice that Ghost has 2 extra, and everybody has 2 extra, pretty much. I mean, Ignar's sitting on 1, but if they could get that 5th control ward as well, that would be pretty nice.
You definitely think that someone like Lava might sell the broken control, the broken stopwatch for control wards. Not going to be building anything out of that. As Baron's already started, Trick's just distracting.
Okay, so Baron attempts number 1 here for BBQ.
Remember that BBQ have Kog'Maw, Gnar, and Malzahar who all do decent Baron damage, but the Malzahar Voidlings tank it as well. So they can be very creative and very free to start Baron and turn off it. Maybe they had the Ivern, couldn't really make that work. It should be mentioned in that 16-minute bait, but once again, they have a lot of options to start Baron pretty freely. When he was interviewed, Trick said the problem was in getting the right control ward placement on the Baron and also the deep vision over the red side that really delayed that Baron take for so long. So we'll have to be very critical of the control ward positioning when the next time it's down.
Ooh, nice aggro there onto the Baron, forcing a Devour onto Tempt, and he did not clear that control ward, more importantly. So they know that no Baron is going down at the moment. But they're looking for a play here. With that Frost Queen's claim, they slow down everybody so much, and here comes the TP from Crazy, but Tempt taking a bit of damage early on, and now Lava getting into position. Linderon coming from the right side, hits his ultimate on 3, and it looks like Tempt was able to lock someone down there for quite a while. Lava and Key leading the charge on in, trying to get that 3-man stun. That taunt on in, but he might be ticked down here from the Malzahar. Now Crazy from the right side. Lots of low members on the side of ROX Tigers. I don't think we're done with this fight just yet. BBQ wants to re-engage. Gonna throw another boulder on in, just trying to poke for a little bit right now. And there's that flash ultimate, he catches 2, and that's gonna be 2 deaths on the side of ROX Tigers. Double kill for Ghost on the Kog'Maw, and that should be the Baron.
Yeah, the gold lead meant so much there for BBQ. Ghost was just running away the entire start of the fight, was doing no damage, but the moment point you saw Crazy Snarbar, you said the turn has to come eventually. Great flash, catches out Sungyun. They turn onto the Baron here. They also have Gnar. He clears out the blast camp, but he does not have vision. They do have vision on Sungwon. Someone needs to stop him. Malzahar is probably that man.
Yeah, looks like Malzahar.
He has suppression back up to interrupt him.
Tom can't, so they will effectively push it back. This is not going to be the 16-minute Baron dance this time around, just about 2 minutes after a very nice fight.
Yeah, very nicely done from the side of BBQ. Good disengage into smart turn. Credit to Crazy, who doesn't get a lot of praise. Very reliable top laner, if not a match winner. We're going to see the replay here. Malzahar, once again, Temp gets blocked when he goes for the big flash. Ultimate play, doesn't get it. And at this point, all right, Linderung's got the ult on multiple people. This is going to be bad. If you're watching Ghost, who is the real decider in these fights, he's not doing damage at the start. But by the time the taunt comes onto 3 members, it's just free damage onto Lava. His health bar is too low for them to make this play. Crazy's waiting and trying to buy his time. He has flash, he has ultimate, but the Gnar bar is less than 50%. The moment that Sungyun has his back cancelled, he's corralled. Leap, flash, ultimate. Perfect stuff from Crazy. Great layering of CC. It leads to a Baron. Great stuff from BBQ.
Very nicely done. If BBQ could just be a little bit more clean in the beginning of these fights, we can give them even more credit, because just getting a little bit out of position, right? Tempt flashing in when you know they've got a Galio on the opposite side. Trying to go for Sungyun, who was a little bit out of the way. But again, you're going up against a Braum, you're going up against a Galio. Perhaps a more leveled approach to the team fight from Tempt would be better in the future.
Maybe he needs to go into the practice tour and practice his flash ultimates. Didn't realize that was a mechanic he needed to practice with Malzahar, but it's 2 out of 2 times let his team down a little bit. Didn't matter in either of those, as well, they're playing 3 lanes, even Tricks in on the fun, pushing up the minions in mid lane. Things looking very, very good for BBQ. They cut through lanes so much better than ROX. When you have a scenario like this, where you have both the Zac and also the Abyssal Voyage from the Tahm Kench, you're so confident playing multiple lanes, because all the enemy team has is the Galio, and so far that hasn't really led to anything. So BBQ happy to full court press. They've also got the better map tools. Even with Galio, not a lot of wave clear to offer. Not against Baron buff anyway.
Yeah. Crazy, very nice control on the Gnar, just dancing outside the taunt of the Galio. You can see already how low that turret is in the top lane by the inhibitor. Already the 2nd tier turret goes down in the mid lane.
And all the comp from ROX does is play 5v5 fights, and that's the only thing BBQ has no interest in doing.
Yeah. The 3-lane push, the 2-1-2. Zac doing his own little push in the mid lane, as you said, up against Sungwon on the Kazakhs, who hasn't really been too much of a playmaker this time around. Okay, they are going to get the Varus ultimate onto Trick, but he just pops himself away. Another ultimate onto the Braum this time around, at least getting him out of the fight for now. Lava taking a bunch of damage. Linderung going for another flank, but he looks a little bit too late here. So many low members on the side of ROX. Tiger's Crazy trying to go by himself. He's got the help of Ghost, and now Linderung is caught up in the top side by himself.
You definitely need to run straight down the middle if you're Linderung. There's nothing to flank because your own team is collapsing in the middle. The fuzzy center is certainly being just completely obliterated, and it's already 2 turrets. Another one. BBQ going for the tutorial victory.
Yeah, they want to get everything done here. They might as well just play it safe, right? The Baron buff just running out right about now. Should be able to at least get this turret, but he is still down for about 9 more seconds. They're not going to push onto the inhibitor. More safe play. You might as well when you're ahead 13,000 gold.
It's been great from BBQ. It's been the game that their fans would love to have seen. We said they could exit 2-0. It's definitely looking on the cards now after game 1 has been pretty much a domination from them. For ROX, though, you feel like maybe it's time to roll the dice on their other members. Maybe Mighty Bear and Kuzan come back for the next game. Lava's been a complete non-factor on the Galio. We said let's wait for the first big Heroes entrance. Don't know if we've seen one in the 25 to 30 minutes this game has been going.
We saw it, it just wasn't a big one.
Nope.
Right? It was just hopping on in and not doing much after. Getting a little bit caught here, but I think the blame can be thrown a lot of different ways, especially when you're this far behind.
Yep. Not too much to say about it. Too easy for BBQ, but that's where the game is poised. BBQ are playing their lane smartly. So macro-wise, You got to say, BBQ have played smartly. Even if you look back to Game 2 against Kongdu Monster with all their frustrations around Baron, they had the right idea, they just were a little bit off in the execution. So seeing them tighten that up is a good sign for what we are expecting to be a competitive team, if maybe not a competitor, for the LCK Spring crown. Damage numbers, great reading for Crazy in particular.
Yeah, he's got some pretty massive damage. It's interesting that someone is keeping up with the rest of his team. We've seen Kazakhs that get behind not do as well in the past, but he's at least keeping up. Crazy versus Linderong seems to go the way of Crazy.
Very one-sided so far as rinse and repeat onto this third inhibitor. The minion wave in top is taking its sweet time to start cracking the base, but it'll happen soon.
Yep, there we go. They chunk out someone, and they are not interested in fighting a 4v5. Here comes that Phalanx position now into the Nexus turrets. But this doesn't really look like your Jin Air SKT type of game, as I feel like BBQ will have an easier shot at pushing this one in for the victory.
Have to imagine, maybe delayed for a Baron buff. They want to end it here. One pick would do that.
See what they can do here. Just slowly picking away, getting that WO back up on the Kog'Maw. Okay, we are going to have an engage. Everything blown here onto Trick, who just ultimates himself away. That was a couple of ults used by ROX Tigers. Just going to heal up a bit there with a redemption and go right back at it.
Yeah, Ghost is going to be harassing every time his W is up, so no real engage from ROX. Now, two of their big engage tools are down. It's going to be at least one Nexus turret.
Yeah. Going into the first one, Ghost, once again, even though he has lost his red buff, he's pretty fed right now. Going 1v2. On the left side, we see Linderong gets ultimated. Lava comes in, doing a nice little pose, but not much more than that. Has his charge blocked as well for the extra kill. Give that a double kill to Crazy, who should be the MVP, if not Trick for this one. Either way, is going to be the 1-0 victory for BBQ.